All right, let's get rolling here. So we'd like to welcome you to our January 26 technical updates for MiSchoolData. Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you for joining our session today. In the chat, you will find the slide deck link as well as the attendance recording. If you could please take a few minutes and record your attendance. Our session today will be recorded and available for 30 days after the publication of it. So, all right, let me get back to my other screen here. So with me today, I have my colleagues, Christy Martin from Macomb ISD and Cheryl Twitchell from CEPI. And we'd also like to recognize our ISD partner, Kathy Miller, who is part of our executive team with the MiSchoolData ISDs. And she is very influential in our resources and availability of those on our website. So just want to shout out to Kathy. Today, you will find all of our content linked in the slide deck by this snapshot quick links area. So all of the content we're going to cover today, if you want to just go to that particular section in the presentation, you can just click here and it will advance you to those slides. And the attendance that is in the chat, if you could please record your attendance for today. So we're going to start out with our learning objectives. This is actually the fourth technical update for the 2025-26 school year. We have two remaining, March and May, following this session. And in these sessions, you basically are getting new information, recently released reports, any reports coming soon, and new developments that are happening in the portal. You also have an opportunity during this session to ask questions or learn new information regarding the MyLogin for Business and accessing and providing your local stakeholders with their user account. We also provide you with our professional learning resources that are available to all MiSchoolData users at the local ISD region and state levels. And then our whole goal of all of this is you take this information and then move it into your local planning areas and whatever resources you need to share with those stakeholder groups. Just would like to recognize our statewide leadership team. We are represented by the 10 Mesa regions, and you can see everyone listed here. That is the regional rep that represents the statewide leadership team. And you can also click the directory and you can find some profile information out about those folks. So shout out to our statewide leadership team, who's responsible for also working in work groups to develop these resources and content that we have available for you. So our agenda today is just to go over welcoming any new technical or PD facilitators, our CEPI technical updates, the account administration area, our statewide leadership team updates, professional learning opportunities, and then any feedback and sharing. And through each section, we do pause for question and answers. So feel free to chime in if you have any questions to share. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl from CEPI.
Hi again, everyone. Let's just go right through this. Since we last met in November, we've had quite a bit of data that has been published. So Rhonda, if you'd like to go ahead and go to the next screen. And actually, we'll just go right to it. Data updates. The big one is the annual education report. It was in preview before the holidays, and as of Monday, it's now public for everybody. We've had other data, college degrees and certificates, our educator effectiveness data, a couple of metrics on the English learner dashboard. All the financial data for 24-25 was published. Our K-3 absenteeism and early childhood participation, student growth, top 30, bottom 30. All that has been out since, I believe, November. And on the next page are the parent dashboard metrics. Lots of those, as you can see, including all of the peer data. So you'll see updated, refreshed peer data on there as well. Next slide, please. Coming soon, with the release of the financial data, we've got the school level expenditure report that's currently being updated and should be with us to validate within the next week or so. I just learned earlier today that early childhood data, it has been delayed a little bit, but the third grade assessment outcomes for early childhood participants data, which is a secure users only report, the data we have received, and we're just working with our vendor to get the data validated in the lower environment before we get it to us to test. And speaking of that, didn't know if you guys were that familiar with the report, so we thought we would highlight this report quickly. In the early childhood menu, well, let me start again. I said it's a secure only report, and a user must have the View Early Childhood with Sensitive Information permission assigned to their user account in order to even see this report in the navigation menu. So you have to be logged in and you have to have that permission in order to see that. And then in the navigation menu, you see that there's an assessment performance and assessment comparisons report there. They both have a lot of the same information, but the comparison report then compares the performance to the state testing. If you actually go to the next slide, it just gives you some screenshots of what you're going to see in the report. This is one of the reports where we tried really hard to make it easier to navigate. So you're going to see the report settings on the same page as the trend line, or the graph charts, the histogram that's below that, and then the student data listed directly below this. This report lets you see how children that you provided early childhood services to for Great Start Readiness Program, Head Start, or the GSRP Head Start blend performed on their third grade M-STEP math and ELA assessments. So you would be able to see those students that you serviced, and you would see which location, and you can see on the right-hand side the district name where they took their third grade assessment and what their proficiency score is. So that gives you an idea of how you're doing with those types of programs, and maybe where there's room for you to improve, or plan accordingly for the future. But just wanted you guys to be aware of this and know that it's out there, and that these data will be coming soon. Next slide, please. The next few things that I'm going to talk about are things that we talked about back in November, and probably even prior to that. We've got some development that will be coming soon for both the Compare tool and Report Builder and entity views. So just wanted to keep you guys in the know about what's going on with the Compare tool. We're adding some visual comparison options by location, subgroup, and metric. And our goal is to align the metrics between the Compare tool and Report Builder, because we know that the same data are not in both reports. And so we're going to rectify that. And then we're also looking to shrink that time from the time that we post the data publicly on the regular reports on MiSchoolData, and then when they appear in the Compare tool and the Report Builder. So for example, for these new visual comparisons, if you go to the next slide, Rhonda, Compare by location will let you compare multiple locations by a student demographic. So you can compare yourself to all, you can compare like all of your schools at the same time if you want to, or your schools to somebody else's schools. And I just gave you like a view from a trend chart and a snapshot view just so that you could see what it looks like. The next slide then gives you the lets you compare by demographic, and by demographic you're selecting one location, but you can choose multiple demographics. So you've got, you know, race, ethnicity, gender, English learners, students with disabilities. I'm sure that there's more, and they're just not coming to my mind. But you can then look at things across the board for those different demographics by a single location. And then I just gave you the visuals. And then the last one is by a metric. And this again allows you to pick I believe the single location, and then you've got the multiple metrics. And below where it says school year and entity type, where the location settings are, is the metrics drop down. And so when we say metrics, we're talking like, do you want to compare graduation rates to assessment data or to enrollment? Or do you want to like compare staffing counts to educator effectiveness or that kind of thing? So that's going to allow you to do that in this view. And then I kind of already touched on Report Builder. The big thing with this is that we're adding some new pre-made data explorations. So if you want to advance that, Rhonda, there are new early childhood pre-made, or at least one for service comparisons by ISD. The next slide is for K-12, and we're adding parent dashboard metrics as well as college enrollment and success by high school. And then there is a post-secondary as well for college degrees and certificates awarded. And then the last thing was this new development for the education map, which we're calling education entity profiles, which you guys kind of know as entity views. It's going to be an enhancement to that platform that it's currently on, which is Power BI. And we're preserving all of the current functionality, but we're adding a PDF download capability, and we're adding a post-secondary entity page, and we're kind of repackaging that entity map and entity view into like a single tool. I didn't have any screenshots for this because it's still in development, but we're working with our vendor right now, and it should be available in our QA environment within the next couple of weeks, and then we can actually start getting this moving along and out sooner rather than later. Just a reminder, obviously, I think you guys know about the report catalog, but we always want to make sure this is on everybody's mind, that very valuable downloadable PDF tool that that includes every single link or report and downloadable school data file that's available in MiSchoolData. And as you can see in the screenshot, it includes like the report name with a hyperlink to the report. So if you click on it, you're taken directly to the report. It will tell you when the data are updated, what kind of demographics are available, the years that are available, and whether or not you need a secure permission to view the report or PII information built into it. So just remember that's there. It's a valuable tool. And if people are asking you questions, well, what report has this, or this in it? This is a great tool to lead them to and let them research that. The EEM updates. So school services and offerings, which is in the parent dashboard, are based on the data that you input into the Points of Pride collection in the EEM. And we take snapshots of that EEM data 3 times a year. For the spring snapshot, that date is April 13th. So So if you want to see updates to superintendents or principals or whatever, change of addresses, contact information, get your updates submitted by April 13th. Now, just to give you an idea, just because the snapshot date is that day, there's a lot of work that happens after that point. We've got to the data is then looked at by our data quality DQ team, and they make sure everything looks good, and then they pass it along to our longitudinal data unit, who then does their ETL process, and then finally we're notified that those data are available for us to view. That can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks before we actually get the data. So even though, like for the spring snapshot, you're talking April 13th, mid-April, you're talking the end of May, you're going to see those spring updates in the school services and offerings collection. So it's not automatic. And just to give you an idea that December snapshot that we had for the fall data, they just completed that ETL for that EEM data. So we're expecting to get that fall data soon for us to actually get it into EEM. Or get it into MiSchoolData. So it's been a little while, obviously, but just wanted to give you guys that expectation of how long it takes to actually get those data loaded into MiSchoolData and the school services and offerings. Any questions on anything that I talked about today? All right. Then I will turn it over to Christy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Shelley. You did a really nice job there. I wanted to also add on to the work that CEPI's doing, the student assessment and accountability data, like the annual education report and the school index. Those little reports or big reports will take priority over pretty much anything else. So while we do receive the updates for the school services and offerings, we're not able to push them until the accountability and state assessment data is available first, which makes sense. So, but we did want to bring that to your attention because you guys are our technical administrators in the state. On to user administration. So a basic example, I've put one here where folks will ask me, what should I give these? What should I give people? And at first we tried to look at the roles and say, okay, if you're a principal, you do this. And if you're a consultant, you do this. And if you're a teacher, you do that. We quickly figured out, though, that each of those roles are different. Sometimes in every building, sometimes within a district, but people wear a lot of hats in education. None of us are saying, wow, we are so overstaffed. So we need to have the permissions that go along with our responsibilities. That's where the fully configurable permissions became available and really the best thing to use. The example that I have here is the administration area, the orangish kind of area. Those are for your the ISD people to choose for folks. And most of our ISDs are providing this information, creating the accountability users, etc. But I still caution and say, let's use ISD user, district user, school user, because then I can choose any permission on this page that goes along with someone's responsibilities, and they don't have to call you back and be prevented from doing their job. In the blue portion, I show where the school improvement team's curriculum, principal, and a non-accountability administrator's role permissions would be. And these are really the bare minimum here, okay, that if you would want to give them these particular ones that are marked in blue. The good part about using the fully configurable permissions also is that there's nothing pre-chosen. You're providing permissions based on what that person's been authorized to. So anyway, I thought this would be a good example to show if folks are want their titles put into MiSchoolData, there's a box for that. And it's called a position, and I do use that mostly for superintendents. That I'll put that designation right in that particular box in the position. We can move ahead. The forms are available within MiSchoolData. Once you log in and go to the administer users area, the manage users area, you can also always have access to the forms from our PowerPoints. So these forms are the most updated. There are 4 forms. The biggest area that people trip up on when they fill the form out is they forget to put their My Login ID and My Login for Business, and that's on the last page. The permissions are broken down exactly on the form how they are in the system. So unless you're an ISD person that you're administering, you're probably not using the whole first section that are administration. You're into the next sections that are about access to the data. Please make sure to always choose view preview data for folks. Otherwise, they won't be able to see when the state announces that something is embargoed, but it's in preview. And they really need to see that, especially really anyone with a secure ID. The account request process for new users, their quick start guide has been updated. This has been working very reliably with the My Login for Business account creation. Every now and then, we do have someone that moves from one district to another and they're moving ISDs. That's something that I can help with. And usually I need my colleague Cheryl's magic to, because they no longer have access to their old email address. So we try to give short ways to look at this information. Step 1 with the click there for My Login for Business account creation. It is a long document, but I swear it's useful. You go through every single screenshot all the way down, and it'll tell them what's next so that hopefully they are able to get their account done faster. The last piece too on there is to contact their technical administrator, and we point them to who that is. Sometimes it's whoever they think their technical administrator is, whoever was providing the last presentation that they saw on MiSchoolData. That's pretty normal. We do have the My Login user guide, and on the next page, if we have new ISD contacts for MiSchoolData, there are 2 contacts per ISD, a general contact and a technical contact. And we update these based on information that we've gleaned from the Gallen area. The ISDs have been super about letting us know when people have moved positions. And we really appreciate that. We want to make sure that all ISDs receive the email containing the secure users list and permissions. And we have more details coming up. The new user review. I have had folks that call me and they say they can't find a particular user. I usually look for their last name or their email address. And by using the filters, it ends up being able to really streamline that search, and they're able to find the person much easier. In the event that they have a common name like Smith or Martin, that particular person, there might be a few of those in the state, but if you use the email address that they've given to you on their user form, you find that very quickly. Folks have been wanting to also use the My Login for Business name and do their search with that. It is not reliable because the users don't give you the right one. They have several of them, or they transpose numbers or something, and it turns into a tornado instead of just a soft wind breeze. So please use those filters and you'll be able to get quite a bit out of the system, and it's been rocking fast. So very happy to report that. We talked about this a little bit with the update to the contacts pages. We're looking to the GELN group, the General Education Leadership Network, as well as the other ISD contacts. We have had some that have completely switched. And with those, I still ask for the count forms that we're following the same process for everyone. If your ISD ends up with so many changes, I'm happy to help. We do have another person that I work with that can also help with that user administration. So we want to make sure that your folks have everything they need to be able to get at the important information within the MiSchoolData portal. We do have a main contact, and the accountability contact is someone that would have the accountability role or accountability permissions, not roles. Because again, we're using the fully configurable ISD user, district user, or school user. So we do reach out to folks to let them know where the professional learning resources are. And I have been holding quite a few Zooms as the new information comes out in the portal for the annual education report. So I have some new folks that are able to help their users too. A quick Zoom, 15 minutes. And, they're able to feel confident about moving forward and that the system is working the way that it's supposed to. Any questions? Great, thank you.
Actually, I have a quick question. I just put a chat in
Oh, sure.
to see if I can reach out to you to set up perhaps a 15-minute Zoom like you were speaking about for myself and my colleague Ryan. We're the ISD technical contacts and do not have the access we need, so we can't see everything to help.
Okay.
So if that's
Yeah, I'd be
something,
happy to do that.
that would be lovely.
Which ISD are you in?
Washtenaw.
Washtenaw. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
After the session, we can even set up a date. Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're down to a few minutes here, so I'm going to quickly go through our outreach and communication and professional learning resources. Last time we were together, we provided an update to you that we are moving to a new platform for some of our communications using the constant contact feature. And right now we are in the stage of testing with our SLT group. So we have some listservs set up, and they are going to be our first, what we would call draft or soft launch with our talking points. And then once we get that finalized and, everything worked out, then we'll start with our listservs that would be represented by you folks. Like Christy mentioned, our main contacts, our technical contacts, secure users, etc. So stay tuned for that. And one of the suggestions that we had when we do this at large, what we will ask is if you're not receiving communication, just to follow up with me and let me know, because it might be going into your spam. I know sometimes when you change platforms or at the tech end, there might be some, filtering or whatever. So you don't want to be getting emails that you shouldn't be to your entity. So anyway, just stay tuned. We'll keep you posted as we progress. Some of our school accountability resources have been completed. Here is a wealth of resources for you to share, not only with your ISD colleagues, but your local districts as they are finalizing these deadlines with AER and with the at a preview on Monday this week. Now preparing to get those annual ed reports downloaded and published by the timelines that MDE has established. So I'd really like to say a shout out to our team that works on these resources. Kristen Day from St. Clair County RESA, Kathy Miller from Shiawassee RESD, Cheryl Twitchell from SEPI, Dan Way, who represents Berrien RESA, and Lisa Zettel from Bay Aranac ISD. We all have our hands at this at some point, but this is the work group that has really taken over our school accountability resources And we really appreciate all of their efforts. Notice that we've also included any of the Michigan Department of Education resources that are aligned with these different reports, such as identification flowchart, resource toolkit for the school index, and the FAQ, which has been really important with the change in those cover letters and the PDFs and whatnot. You'll notice that the quick start guide is not linked here yet. It is being, I have one section left to update in that. And so that should be done by today, end of business today, and it'll be available. So please feel free to use these and share with your networks. I just put in thought this would be resourceful since we're talking about the AER. Here's the slide regarding the timeline, and know that by Friday, February 20th is the AER posting deadline. Cheryl, did you have anything to add? I thought I saw you put your hand up.
No, no, I was just scratching.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. That's okay. All right. And then our resources for MiSchoolData website. You know that we've had some changes to that, and just know that that's evolving. We actually added the AER 2025 slide deck to the presentations and targeted resources. CEPI posted that last Friday. It was pushed to production. So that's also on our resource kit page of the MiSchoolData website. January 26 talking points highlights the AER and the resources available as well. So feel free to share those out. And then here's our collection of the quick start guides and our EduPass courses. Feel free to share those. We do share those with onboarding, just to let you know. And then our next technical administrator webinar is scheduled for March 11th. I don't really want to think March that far ahead, but we have 2 left this year. So here's the registration link. And for those that registered prior, I just want to make a note of this, prior to August. So we gave you the dates at our last webinar in May of 25. And some of you that are so savvy about or being organized and get everything on your calendar, what we didn't have in our system was the links to the Zooms. So I've made a note. Alex has updated them, but what we're thinking happens in the system, if you were one of those early registrations, it's retaining the information somehow from your original registration. So what I'm going to do, I've got it in my calendar. What I'm going to do is the week of the webinar, I will send a reminder and I'll include the Zoom link just in case, because I know that's really frustrating at a last minute when you're trying to get in and you're multitasking. So just know that that's a note to self, that next year we will make sure we have our Zooms created prior to launching the registration link. So just wanted to let you know, because that was a little snafu we had last week. I think there was an inquiry. So we apologize, but it's been corrected. All right. With that, our upcoming January and February dates are listed there, where we will be around the state. And what questions might you have?
I just want to say thank you for the information about the links. That's appreciated.
You're welcome. Well, we're sorry that and you know, the other thing,
It's okay. It's technology.
and it's just like feedback. If we don't hear, we don't know. So we really appreciate the feedback. If there's ever any nuances, if we don't know, we can't immediately take care of it. So thank you for
Sure.
reaching out and asking. And you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one. So anyway, so here's our feedback survey from today. And I can put the link in the chat. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, was waiting for others to come in. That's why there we go. All right. So that concludes our session for today. We thank you for your participation and look forward to seeing you in March. And again, Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
I